My name is Andy Hornby, photographer and vlogger. 15 years ago I started teaching myself photography. Today I travel the UK as a professional wedding photographer, landscape photographer and filmmaker. Learn from my experiences, my mistakes and my tips and advice. Join me on my photography adventures. Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the main apps I use, actually 9 apps that I use for my landscape photography. I'm always getting asked by people who come to my workshops and on Facebook what apps I use to help me with my photography and potentially give me an edge when it comes to finding a location, timings, all that kind of stuff. So today I'm going to show you the apps I use. There are 9 I use mainly for landscape photography. Obviously there are more and I do use others, but these are the 9 that I mainly use. So getting that perfect shot, photography today is a little bit easier than it used to be. We have digital cameras, we can take loads of shots, get back to the computer, look through them and decide which ones we like best. It's perfect, right? Often or not though, for me, I like to plan my photography trips and even local trips in the local area. I live in Southsea and I shoot a lot of stuff in and around Southsea. You see where I am at the moment, I'm in Southsea. Often or not, for me, I go out looking for one shot and just one composition. Generally I'll take a few exposures of that composition on May bracket, and but essentially it's the one composition I'm after. If I plan a journey out further afield, I might plan 2 or 3 locations, but for me, I'm generally looking for one composition at those locations. I'm not looking to shoot, and there are a lot of photographers that do this locally as well. I see quite a few photographers on Instagram and they're great. I have no problems with that type of photography, but I don't generally go out shooting millions of shots, uploading hundreds to Instagram. For me, it's about getting that one shot and making sure that one shot is perfect every time. So I use a lot of apps, and 10 years ago it would have been difficult to do this. It would have been more internet searches than anything else. Someone come up with a really good idea to create a load of apps and stick them on one of these things which you can take anywhere with you. I'm constantly getting my phone out on shoots. If you see any of my videos, I'm always using apps to get things just they're a little bit better. For me, I use apps to make sure I find the right composition. I'm using the right settings. Sometimes if I'm doing long exposure photography, there's apps to calculate your exposures so you don't have to do it in your head, because that can be an absolute nightmare. And after your photography as well, there are apps that can help you with even editing if you wanted to. I don't generally use those, but mostly uploading to social media, because if you're a photographer, you're going to want to show your pictures, right? That's the whole idea of this. So here are my 9 apps that I use the most, and I hope you get something out of this. If you do get anything out of this, please slap a thumbs up on this video, that always helps. So let's get into this. Okay, the first app I use is Exposure Calculator. Now there are loads out there, and I think this one is only for Android. If you have iOS on your iPhone, you probably can't find this exact app, but there are loads like it, and this one I prefer because it's so simple to use. If I'm doing long exposure photography, all you have to do is put your current exposure at the top half of the screen, and in the bottom half it calculates it in a matter of seconds for you, depending on what type of filter you're putting on the front of your camera. Really simple to use. I've had it for about 5 or 6 years. I got it, I think, when I first started doing long exposure stuff. I tried other apps like the Leaf Filter app, which is very good, but this app I think makes things just that little bit easier. And when you're out on a shoot and you're cold and you're trying to get that shot, you don't want to be messing around with apps, so this makes it really simple. So that's the first one. The second one is an app called the Photographers Ephemeris, or TPE for short. I've had this app, probably one of the first apps I bought for landscape photography, and in fact I don't think I bought it. I think back in the day when I got it, it was free. Now I think you pay about £11 for it. That's about $13, $14, and it is really good. I use it mainly just for one thing, and that is for determining where the sun is setting and where it's going to rise and at what time. It is so simple. There are other apps that do this, but this for me, you turn it on, boom, it'll find your location like that, and it'll tell you exactly where and when the sun will rise or set. So I use that for that app, and I can't imagine using anything else. I have another app that I'll come on to in a second, which does this and a lot of other stuff, but this is the app I use to determine when the sun's going to rise, because it's so good and so simple to use. The third app is probably considered the best app for photographers out there on the planet at the moment. It's Photopills. It's a brilliant app. It does literally everything. It will track the sun, it will help you with your time lapses, it will help you do panoramas, it will help you do everything. The problem I find with it is it's probably a bit more complicated than what I need. Most of the stuff is probably better for beginners, I would say. It really does help you out, but if you're a seasoned landscape photographer, most of the information on there you're probably going to know yourself. Does that make any sense? Really good app, got no problems with it, but a lot of people get it for the sunrise and sunset, like I said earlier, but I use the TPE app for that because it's a lot easier to use, and to be fair, when I had it, it was free, so I got that instead. Photopills app is about a tenner, give or take, so you're talking $13–14, something like that. You can get it for all mobile systems, whether you're on Android or iOS, whatever. Really good app. If you're a beginner or you're an enthusiast, it's an app you're going to want to have on your phone, because it will gear you up for any situation you're looking to shoot. So consider having a look at that one. Really good. Now, as you know, I live on the south coast, so for me a lot of my photography involves the sea, and I'm always going to want to know what the tide's doing. Now, it's very crucial for seascapes, especially if you're doing long exposure, stuff like that. If you're going to have a 5 or 10 minute exposure, you're going to want to know what the tide's doing. But also, if you're planning a shoot miles away that you can't do a recce on, you're going to want to know what the tide's like. If you're going down the coast 50 miles, the tide there is going to be different to here. So with this app, you can literally punch in where you want to go, and it will tell you what the tide's doing, whether it's going to be up, how long it's going to take for it to come back up, all that kind of stuff. Really, really good app. Love it. Use it all the time. Now, as far as planning and getting your photo shoots sorted, those are the apps I use mainly. The next couple of apps are all about what we do afterwards. I use the Lightroom app quite a bit. I don't use it for editing. You can, even after you've synced from your Lightroom on your computer, you can sync to your mobile and you can still edit the images. I don't really use it for that, but that's a good app. That's not mentioned in these 9 at the moment, but I'll go on to the next one, which is Instagram. Now, I love Instagram. As a photographer, if you haven't got an Instagram account, you're kind of missing out a little bit, mainly because it's considered to be the place to put your pictures. There are other apps out there that do all this kind of stuff, but the main one is Instagram, and if you're a photographer, you really need to get on Instagram. I love it. I try and post every day, if not every other day, and it's just a really good place to post your images. Bear in mind with that and the next app I'm about to talk to you about, there are issues posting to those places. You've got to read the fine print when you sign up to these websites. So let's get into the next app, which is Facebook. Now, I use Facebook mainly for business. I do have a page for my photography, which I've had for 8–9 years, something like that. Ever since I started doing photography and wedding photography, I started a Facebook page. I also have a few groups. I run a few groups locally. I have my own group for my own workshops, and really is a good place to upload your images and just make sure it gets out to the masses. You know, Facebook and Instagram are the main sort of areas where, if you're looking to have a business in photography, you need to reach a lot of people, and social media is the best place to do that. Facebook and Instagram are going to be the places you're going to need. The next one is 500px. This is a really good website. I don't use it as much as I used to. It's a good place to upload your images. You will get a lot of positive criticism on there. Really good place if you're good. I say that because I've seen a lot of people post on their images that other people don't consider good, and they're not very nice, so I generally don't go on there too much. I've never had any bad experiences myself, but it is a very elitist, if you like, if I can say that, place to upload your images. If your images are spot on and good all the time, it's a good place to have a nice gallery of your images and showcase them. if a couple of images aren't on par with what the people on there think, you can get some bad criticism, and it's a bit deflating sometimes. So I generally don't go on there too much. My main places, like I say, are Instagram and Facebook. The next one for me is Twitter. Now I don't use it so much for uploading masses and massive amounts of pictures, but if I'm doing some kind of blog or anything like that, and I've got something I want to tell people, not just using pictures, Twitter's a good place for that. I don't find it helps a photographer as much as the other websites do, but it's definitely, as far as social media goes, it's definitely a place to get your story out there, get your story to the masses, and it's just another tool in your phone. You can quickly upload to it and you're away, bingo bango, everything's sorted. Another app I sometimes use in conjunction with Instagram is an app called NoCrop. Now this makes images into the square shape. It just essentially adds a border around your images. If you've got a panorama that's quite long, you're going to cut that off if you put it on Instagram, because it constrains how much of that image you can put in there. But if you add room that way, this app can do it really quickly. You don't have to mess around with Facebook. If it's on your phone, you can upload it directly from that app into Instagram as well, which makes it really simple. So it's a really good little app. Okay, so there you have it. They're my 9 apps I mainly use for landscape photography. There are other apps that I use. I use a lot more apps for other types of photography. I've got model release apps. I've got all kinds of other, like I said, I use sometimes the Lightroom app. But these are the main 9 that I use. Everyone's always interested in what apps I use on my phone, because when I'm on a workshop or I'm on a photo shoot, someone sees me, I've generally got my phone out and I'm messing around with something. For me, these apps are just a really good way of making sure you get your photography on point. And when you're planning a photo shoot, they're just invaluable. You know, you didn't have this 10 years ago. You had to trawl the internet for location ideas and stuff like that. I can do it on my phone. I can do it on the fly. I can be on a photo shoot and I can just know that I want to go somewhere else, and I can have all the information to hand. And generally nowadays, you're not going to be without any signal anywhere. Your phone is going to be working no matter where you go. It makes photography just that little bit easier, and it means you can concentrate on getting the composition right and your shot right, your camera settings right. You don't have to worry about all that kind of stuff, because you know you've done your planning. Like I said before, I'm not one for just going out with my camera and shooting 100 things in an hour and then going back and uploading 30 things. I'm looking for that one composition. I'm looking to make sure that composition is perfect in camera as best I can, and I'm making sure that I can get back and I can upload that, and even if I want to upload it in the fly, my camera now has got Wi-Fi. I can get those pictures onto my phone. If I wanted to, I can use the Lightroom app on my phone and then upload within 10 minutes. I don't generally do that, but it's possible. It's what makes technology nowadays so much better and so much easier to use. And if you're not using these things, you're just making your life a little bit harder, because they're out there, right? And most of them are free. Pick up the apps, have a play and see what you think of it. If you've got any comments, please leave them down below there. Please keep them constructive, and I will see you on another video.